Recording in progress.
Thing.
Okay, welcome to this show that does not yet have a name. We are it's living in love or something under that umbrella.
Mm,
Um, yes. So Rita and I have been friends for a long time now, a good few years, and we met um in a like spiritual container, I guess I would say. What would you call it?
yeah, like a spiritual container is nice.
It
Yeah.
focused on personal growth and development,
Mm,
specifically facing fear and getting rid of it, right? Dealing with fear and ego and having a weekly container to come workshop, everything that we're going through in our lives. So for me, that was really, really helpful and supported my growth. And so I feel like the inspiration for this call and calls of this sort um, are just to tap in and share some things about what we're moving through, new awarenesses that we're having, or questions that come up. Because for me, that container was super supportive in the sense that I could learn from others as well. And seeing other people showing up vulnerably, um, it inspires me to
mm,
be honest and vulnerable. And it's motivating.
yeah,
So yeah.
it was beautiful to be able to be witnessed and also witness and have the ability to communicate through that awareness where you knew that you were you were sharing and participating and bringing, and that was also like nourishing the ability to reflect and grow through um, connecting and communicating about all these things that we were unfolding for in our experiences. I felt like it was so powerful to witness the self um, sharing in that way. It was very unique for me.
Mhm.
Mm.
Very. So shout out to our wonderful mentor Katya and all the people who were involved in different iterations of that container.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I feel like it was and still is for me really supportive to have those type of connection points because I mean, when we look at the world, there's a lot of old paradigm stuff still hanging around, and there's a lot of like fear-based programming and propaganda everywhere. And so it's really beautiful to have something, have a support, so I'm so grateful for you, Rita, as a wonderful, just a beautiful friend that, we can share from this place of what I'm feeling like is like living love because the people around me have a different perspective, but there's a part of me that's like, but what if it was different? And you always meet me in some realm like that. And that's what I love about you. And that's why I am inspired to start these chats with you.
I love it. Yeah, I feel the same way. And I'm excited about this too. There's so many conversations we have all the time of just unpacking things, or it feels like just like speaking to things from this really fearless and love centric place where you're just allowing it to be the way you're being. And I think
Mhm.
that us creating language and having conversation and just being able to have like create more space to jump into conversations about this, I think that's what like it's just such the joy of our connection. One of these big pieces is that we just get to play like that. And I think it's yeah, I so appreciate it as well.
Mm. And I feel like it's important for me to share that, like, I acknowledge that I am a work in progress. And so everything that we're sharing and speaking to is like it's not necessarily right for everyone and it's not like the truth. It's just that we are exploring and so yeah, it's really feels like it's like living love. Like we are living it and we are
Good.
exploring what that means.
Yeah.
And the more the deeper we dive, the closer we get to like what that really feels like, what that truth is.
Yeah, it's like Tom says, like being open-minded and skeptical, right? It
Mm,
feels like that's what we do is we say, what about this? Well, and we dive into it from that space where we're like, I'm noticing the things that are rubbing me in a way that don't feel authentic or truthful. And then we lean into our own spaciousness within us to tap into the larger consciousness system and our individuated consciousness and being able to bring that into our conversations, right?
mm,
But yeah, it's still totally just through living and being like, I'm walking through this. Well, I walked through it this way. How might I look at my own experience and um, make a choice and then move into the revelations that came from that choice and then be able to make a new choice, right? Like it's
mhm,
that beauty of the experience is so fun to reflect on. You know?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. And I love that you just brought Tom in because yeah, Tom Campbell is someone that I and Rita, we both follow, love his work and his theory of everything. So now having that as a framework, it feels like so many of the things that we were touching on earlier now are just like really locking in. I have an understanding, at least for myself, I can say I have an understanding, a much deeper understanding of how this reality works. And that is thanks to Tom Campbell. So it's kind of like this show is going to be living love. And that's what Tom speaks to is he really says that our purpose here is to lower entropy, which would be to get rid of fear and become love. So we're living love, we're becoming love.
Mhm.
And yeah, why don't we dive into I had an experience that I wanted to share. And it is really I'm grateful for the understanding that I have now thanks to Tom's work because I really see and feel how the internal affects the external, right? Like the non-physical to the physical. And so Tom is inviting us to always to be becoming love or to be choosing love over fear. And so I had an experience last week that was so subtle but so profound because it was just one of those moments that really showed me that even on the subtlest level, it affects things in a profound way. Um, so like so subtle, but like so big. And so I'll just share briefly so what happened was I showed up at my client's house and her husband came out of the garage and was kind of looking at my car with like a puzzled look on his face. And then he said, he's like, you have a flat tire. And so I got out of the car and I see it's like flat. And so immediately in my head, I started criticizing myself for not knowing that, like for driving with a flat tire and not knowing that I had a flat tire and perpetuating this story that like, oh my gosh, like you're an idiot. And and so the interesting piece was like there was no negative interaction. Like he and I were just like, it was fine. We were just having a conversation. He offers to pump up the tire, like easy peasy. He's like, you go in, it's all good. I'll just pump it up. It's all fine. But because I was beating myself up in my head, I wasn't able to really fully be present in that moment. And this is an acquaintance, but still, I could feel the difference between having a joyful experience where I would have been able to be present and really say like, "Hi, how are you? How's your day? What's up?" rather than really feeling it was feeling like constricted, like I was limited in my ability to connect because I was so in my head. And so I just thought that it was a it was a really one of those potent moments of realization for me that like just showed it wasn't a negative. I didn't have a blow up. There was nothing that happened really that was bad, but it could have been so much better. It could have just
Mhm.
flowed and been so much more easeful and joyful. So yeah, so I wanted to share that. And I'm wondering if you, well, if you have any reflections or if you have any similar experiences of like subtleties like that that you want to share.
Well, I think that it's just so beautiful because I definitely am familiar with the navigating the inner dialogue and the talk, the like the self-talk. And I've had a lot of things bring that to my attention this year, specifically of just being able to approach that um, with more awareness. And so I can really feel what you're saying and this beautiful connection to like then the experiences on the external that we have because of um, the way our inner workings are moving and that the expansiveness of if we can gentle that inner voice. And so I've definitely um, the experience that comes to mind is more about the experience of working with that with the mind. So I've found myself this year in when I sit in meditation and in practice of quieting and listening to the guidance that's coming through for me to practice moving and lowering the entropy and moving into my more of a loving inner space for myself. I was given this playful game of just anytime I was in a situation where I was giving myself negative talk, I would come back with a lot of positive feedback to myself and intentionally and purposefully knowing, having the awareness and the
Mhm.
intention, and then taking the action to positively reframe what the situation was. And I practiced this for a handful of weeks. And then when I was invited into a situation, um, with a person, with my father-in-law, I had an experience specifically, it's coming to mind. And the I was in this experience where he was in this moment in a place where he wasn't feeling his best and he decided to reflect on decisions that I make with my children about eating. Um, and he was curious, but like his approach was less than comfortable. It was like a little bit intense. But I just stayed really present. And then I listened, and there was a bit of back and forth. I was feeling it out. I was trying to stay present, but I could feel, the inner critic starting to round up all its ammo, so to speak. But then I went into my car, and I remember right away leaning into my breath and it's just automatically starting to speak into the positive um, of the experience in the sense of like seeing the inner critic starting to talk, seeing the experience, the negative actual physical experience that occurred, and brought forward just some positive encouragement to myself intentionally. And then right away, I had this wave of love move through me. And then I had the clarity in my mind to just hear the like loving presence say, but he cares so much.
Mhm.
And I remember sitting and I remember speaking to this in community too, where I was just like, being able to sit with that awareness was so big. Was even though it was like through this subtle experience of my inner world. And I did have a physical experience, but this experience of these subtle moments are to me like moments of opportunity to witness and notice. And the more that we
Mhm.
do that, we can playfully create through our imagination, like all kinds of ways to um, reprogram
Mhm.
and revision the system of our operating system to then give us these incredible opportunities like that experience of sitting being able to say I just had this actual experience that was less than comfortable for me
Mhm.
at another point in time would have spiraled into a lot of things, but in that moment all that was there, all that needed to come forward was acknowledging that this person cares, that this person was engaged enough and was thinking about things, and I didn't need to be attached to the perspective, right? But
Mm.
the inner work to me is the foundational work. And I feel like hearing you speak about your experience of just watching how our inner world talks, and then how we then can take action and based on that is so important. It's so powerful and like so fun. And I always
Hmm.
just like to have playful ways to move through that. And so I'm always grateful when I can use my imagination and use my mind and use my creativity to just tap into the guidance that wants to come through and be open to it, right?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that experience. And
Mm-hmm.
it really I'm what I'm hearing from you is that yeah, you're really cultivating your own awareness and practice and it's beautiful that you're able to have that kind of experience in a moment that could yeah, otherwise be somewhat challenging. When it's uncomfortable. Yeah. And it is a beautiful opportunity because I those are the for me, I feel like those are the moments that can show us where we're at. Paying attention to those subtleties. Like, some areas of some aspects of our lives or some topics we're like pretty confident in, and there's no issue. But then there's those sometimes when those thoughts start to come in, and then depending on where you're at, you're gonna let the ego take the wheel
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, and it's I'm always grateful because it is sort of an invitation to then look and see, okay, like is there really more here? Like where can I go deeper here and really like clear my own stuff? Because if I don't have stuff around it, then it's just gonna roll right off, right?
Yeah, it's super helpful, right?
Hmm.
But it happens. I think both things happen, and I appreciate when I get reminded through an experience that like, oh, this is something that's there's a piece here that I need to look at, right?
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it's fabulous. Like I love when that happens in a gentle way that I can,
Yes.
and when I can receive it that way, right?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm not asking for discomfort or challenge, but uh, when something arises that maybe is challenging or uncomfortable, then being able to approach it from that lens is really helpful. Like, this is an opportunity. What is the opportunity here? Like, how can I expand my awareness of myself? How can I learn what fear can I let go of?
Mhm. And I have to say, like, the experience I shared, that was one of the first experiences in that context that happened that way. So I can definitely say, like, I've had many of the opposite and observed myself and had to uh, nurture myself into a more steady space. And I just really appreciate. The growth that can occur, and I find that like we all have our own specific flavor of practices that help us get there, but the awareness of the intention to set a practice in place, and there's definitely amazing tools that that you are very versed in, that I've been exploring recently too, and they were definitely a big part. And I think that um, moving through being aware and then having practices that are uniquely supportive to you, but have a specific intention and are capable of helping the body move into a certain harmonized state, creates this other entire um, group of choices. I feel to within the experience, right,
Hmm.
within the game.
Hmm. Yeah. You can expand your decision space, as Tom would say. Fear limits your decision space. It's just like tunnel vision. And
Mm-hmm.
and that was what I was feeling in that moment was like it wasn't crazy negative, but like I wasn't expansive. And yeah, so I think this is great for our first little mini episode because I love to keep these the intention is to keep them kind of like bite size. And there's so much, and I would say you are so well versed in similar tools and many others. So I look forward to all the things that we will be sharing Yeah, as we continue.
Beautiful.
And it kind of reminds me of this theme today reminds me of like Tom speaks to how, people will say like you have to love yourself, but it's not about like becoming a narcissist and loving yourself. It's really just like you have to not hate yourself. Like, and so that's what I think of when those thoughts are coming in. It's like, okay, well, like I gotta stop. I gotta get rid of these. Like, where are these coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the message that came through for me was like get in check of your inner critic. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
learn how to hold your stability, see it and respond.
Hmm. Yeah. And it can be a fine line because in doing this type of work, I feel like like we have to be real with ourselves. And sometimes I find myself, like if I'm being honest, it's like, okay, there is something that like I made a mistake or I could have been better here or right there are these things, but like to not let the ego like just start criticizing, right? To like say, okay, so this is what's happened. This is where I'm at. This is the awareness I'm getting right now. And now what am I going to do with it? What choice am I going to make moving forward? And so holding that like intention for growth always is really beautiful, really helpful. And thank you because you are always such a wonderful connection point for me. So, um, thank you for coming today. And yeah, that Rita's going to help co-create.
Well, thank you for
Yeah,
having me.
wonderful. Well, that's all. Send in love.